Hi, loves. I hope that this video finds you in a happy place. And however you're feeling today, I hope I can bring some joy and some positivity. And as you know, I'm doing inspirational talks. I'm doing as many inspirational talks as I can before my 35th birthday, which is the end of June. And so today I was asking myself, asking the universe for guidance, thinking about what could be helpful for us to think about today, to talk about today. And what came to me was this: how to deal with feeling alone or feeling lonely. And especially at this time, you may be quarantining alone. You may be quarantining with roommates. You may be quarantining with your family. And whether we're quarantining alone or we're quarantining with family, we can still feel lonely. Some of us may be in situations where we don't necessarily feel that we can be our full selves, right? When we are with our family, or we don't feel that we can be our full selves when we're around our roommates or whatever our living situation is. And so this time where we are required to stay home, um, without many options in terms of finding community elsewhere can be hard, and it can make us feel very lonely, right? And so I was thinking about, in my own journey, what has been really helpful for me when I have felt that way, when I feel loneliness. What do I do? So here are some of the things that have really been effective and helpful for me, and I hope that you find some jewels and gems in this. And the first thing that came to me is reach out to people. And that seems very obvious, right? To reach out to people and speak to people, but sometimes when we're feeling lonely and we're feeling kind of in this ball kept to ourselves, we don't really want to share with other people how we're feeling. We don't really want to express ourselves to other people because we may feel shy about it. We may feel embarrassed. We may feel a little bit insecure about how we're feeling. And so it's important to really reflect on how you feel and then be able to articulate it and reach out to other people. Because the thing is, when you are feeling a certain way, there's usually other people who are feeling and experiencing the exact same thing that you are experiencing. It's just that they also are kind of kept keeping it in. And once you express yourself to other people about how you're feeling, hey, like whether it's like sending a text, hey, I just want to say hi, reach out to you, see how you're doing during this time. I've honestly been feeling a little like lonely, a little bit alone, and I just wanted to reach out and see how you're doing and have a conversation with you. And I'm not saying everyone will react in an ideal way, but when you start reaching out and being vulnerable and sharing how you feel, and trust me, I know that being vulnerable is not easy. Okay, that's the first thing. And sometimes when we are feeling alone, we are feeling vulnerable. And I know that is a very challenging feeling to deal with. But I would encourage you, especially during this time, to put out how you're feeling to other people. People that you know, people that you trust and respect, of course. But you will find that when you start to talk to other people about how you feel inside, generally speaking, they will be receptive to it because they are often feeling that same way. Do you know what I mean? And it just takes one person to start the conversation. It just takes one person to sort of break the ice so that you can have that kind of conversation about how you're feeling. So when you're feeling lonely, the first thing to do is not keep it inside and just keep it to yourself and start to get deeper and deeper into a feeling of loneliness, but it is to reach out to other people and have honest conversations. The important thing about this time is it's genuinely a time of reset, a vital reset, where we are given a chance to start again, to start over, to repair things, to reach out to people that we haven't spoken to in a long time, to repair friendships, to understand what went wrong in certain situations and relationships. There's so many things that we have the opportunity to work on, to fix, to resolve. So when you're able to reach out to people, you can truly start to address how you're feeling. You can open up the door, open up your heart to having conversations with other people about how they're feeling, and you can truly build. I think at the foundation of every sort of relationship is the importance of being able to have conversation, and that's honest, genuine conversation, and I feel like a lot of us don't do that. A lot of us don't even talk on the phone anymore, right? Like, we don't even talk to each other on the phone, we text. And so one thing that I've been challenging myself to do is to have more honest and open conversations with my family. Because for me, I actually don't have a very emotionally connected relationship with my family. I have a closeness with my family, but it's not an emotional connection. But what I'm trying to do more is open up, even if it's a little bit painful sometimes. I had a conversation with my mom and my aunt today over Zoom, and we talked about family stories and family experiences. And I opened up to them about feeling as a child lonely because I didn't feel like I looked like anyone in my family. And for them, that was a very pivotal moment because they didn't realize that I felt that way. And it wasn't easy for me to talk about that, but when I did, it brought on more conversation about that, about how they felt growing up. And it was a way for us to connect on something that we previously hadn't been able to do. And so when you are bold enough to take and brave enough to take the first step to have honest conversations about how you're feeling, that is very essential to helping you get out of your feeling of loneliness, because you're talking to other people who can identify with how you feel because you've addressed it. Remember in yesterday's talk, when I was talking about feeling negative, it's about addressing it first, giving it a name. And so when we reach out to people and we address how we're feeling, it helps us to better connect with others. Now, I don't want to misconstrue things. I want to be clear. I think that when you reach out to people, it's very important that you're mindful of how you do it, because we all have different degrees of friendships and relationships, right? But it's one thing to be the person that may be always complaining about things. And I want to be very clear on that because that was me for a long time. Complaining, victimizing yourself, and feeling like, oh, this is me, this is happening to me, everything's that. Because we have to be sensitive to the fact that it's a conversation. So it's two people having that conversation. So just as important as it is for us to be able to open up and share, it's just as important to listen and to provide space for the other person to share. So we don't want to be bombarding people with, and then this happened to me, and then this happened to me, and then this happened to me. When I say being vulnerable and honest about how you're feeling, it's about creating conversation and opening up the door to questions. Like, one of the things that's the hardest for me, I notice, is saying when I need help. Because I don't want to seem like I don't know what I'm doing. But I notice that when I do ask for help, even though it's still hard for me to do, it opens up the door for someone else to give me advice, suggestions, share what has happened for them. And so when we are reaching out to friends, to family, let's be mindful of how we're reaching out. Not like, I have this problem, so, and then this happened to me, and then this happened to me, and then that happened to me, and then that's happened to me, and that happened to me. All right, cool, bye. We have to really engage with each other. That's very important, to engage with each other. And so when you reach out, ask that person how they're doing as well. How have you been feeling during this time? Are you okay? I've honestly been feeling a little alone, and I don't want to keep it all in, and I thought maybe we could talk about it and share how we've been feeling, because I'd love to hear what your experience has been. Have you been feeling alone? And that way, it's two people speaking, two people sharing, and that's the power of conversation. So the first thing is really reaching out. That's important. That matters. So when you feel alone, remember, you're not the only one who feels that way, and it's super important to reach out. So reach out and have conversations. Reach out with an open heart, with an open mind. Reach out with an honest spirit, and reach out with vulnerability, right? And not being afraid to show how you're feeling and who you are. It's not easy. You might want to write down how you're feeling before you engage in a conversation, and that's okay too. And that's actually the next thing that I was going to say. Write down and document your experience. When you're feeling alone and when you're feeling lonely, sometimes it's just about getting the words out. Do you know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's about speaking it out. Like, I'm feeling this way. And then start to ask yourself, why? Why are you feeling that way? Are you feeling that way because you're feeling depressed? Are you feeling that way because you're feeling frustrated? Are you feeling that way because you live alone? Are you feeling that way because you're too scared to reach out to people? Writing down how you feel and then asking yourself deeper questions about why is one of the most challenging things to do, but it is so important. It's so important because, it challenges you to think about what's going on. So if you have a journal, or even if you don't have a journal, if you just have a pen and paper, write down what you're feeling. Even if you write at the top of the paper every day when you wake up, how am I feeling today? And then writing out how you truly feel, and it's okay however you feel. And then after you write out how you feel, whether it's sad, it's happy, it's angry, it's lonely, whatever it is, then follow that up by saying, why do I feel this way? Because when you ask yourself why, it may not come right away, but when you keep asking yourself why and getting deeper and deeper into the why, you start to touch on a nerve in a good way, because you start to push yourself a little bit so that you can understand how you feel, and then you can truly connect to that feeling and let it go, find a solution, or just sometimes we find a solution in just understanding where it's coming from. You know what I mean? Sometimes we find the solution by just getting to the root and the truth of why something is happening to us. I remember the other day I recorded one of these talks, and it was good, man. I was talking for a long time. And then when I stopped recording, it actually didn't save. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I wrote so much and I started getting crazy and researching like why does this happen? And I sat with it for a moment and I thought to myself, you know what? That was a check-in for me. That was a conversation for me. And I'm upset because I actually thought I was sharing it, but that was a conversation for me. That was something for me to listen to. And it's important to really dig deep whenever you feel any kind of emotion. And the best way to do that is to write it down. And if you can't write it down, another way to do it is to record yourself. Like we're fortunate now that we have technology that allows us to record audio, record video. And so we can do video journals, we can do audio journals where you just record yourself, get up on the computer, get on your phone, and just record your voice and talk about how you're feeling. Talk about what you're experiencing. I remember when I went to my mom's house and we were cleaning up some things in the apartment, and we found this drawer where she had all these tapes, like cassette tapes from back in the day. And she was like, oh, I don't really know what's on there. And we put one, my mom still has a tape player in one of her like music systems. And we put the tape in, and it was just her speaking about her. It was probably when she was like 20 or 30. And it was about her speaking about her experience and how she was feeling and sort of processing everything. And while it was like some sad things, that she was going through, it was healing for her to do that, to speak about it, because sometimes we just keep it in and we don't speak about it. And that adds to our loneliness. So recording it, saying it out loud, video recording yourself, writing it down, and then reading it out loud, those things are all part of healing, and they can truly help us when we're feeling lonely or alone to better understand ourselves. So that has been very key in my own journey to self-love and to understanding myself. Every morning I write in my journal. I start with gratitude. I always try to write as much as I can gratitude-wise, and I always start with, wow, I'm here. I woke up this morning. I'm so grateful. I start with that. And then from there, I really think about all the things that I'm grateful for. And I reflect on that day that I just had, or I reflect on what I want to do for today. I reflect on things I'm trying to work through, or if I have a dream I don't understand. But the key is writing down your emotions, because when you write down your emotions, they become more real, they become more clear, and then you can do something about it. So write it down, audio record your voice speaking about how you feel, video record, do a video diary, video journal of your experiences. And also it's like really cool to do that because you're documenting your experience. Now that everything is digital and everything is like on the internet, online, we don't have albums anymore. So it's like we don't have photo albums and like it's just different now. But if you're able to record yourself and process what you're feeling and share your experiences and document your daily routines and how you're feeling and just talk about your life, when you get older, it's cool to look back on those kind of things. So overall, it's a way to really better understand yourself, celebrate yourself, and celebrate your own voice. That's important. And then the third thing I would say, if you're feeling alone and lonely, is to interact with people on social media. You know, the powerful thing about social media, and social media can be used in many different ways, but the powerful thing about social media is that you can interact with people all over the world. You can find communities of people that share interests that you share. You can have conversations with people from all over. And I think that's so powerful to be able to talk to people all over the world. I took this class 2 years ago, and it was based in London, but it was an online class. And it was so powerful for me because everyone in the class was from all over the world. And we got to connect weekly, virtually, through video chats and Zoom and everything. And I felt community through that. I felt connected to this large community. And we're so blessed by having internet that we're able to do that. And, most of these social media things are free, right? Facebook is free. Instagram is free. Using Zoom, you can use Zoom video chat for free. So there's all these things that you can do in terms of reaching out. And you might say, well, Julia, how do I connect with people on social media if I don't know them? And that can be hard, because it's like, how do you get a conversation started? But I think when you look at things like through hashtags, for example, of things you're interested in, I found people that I've connected with through that. There's Meetup, meetup.com. My friend told me that they have social media events. They have things that are live events, like, because we can't meet in person, but you can meet online. You can sign up for meetup.com events. There's so many different lives that are going on right now that you can tune into. So I would look for things that you're interested in and not be afraid to invest in yourself at this time. That's the most important thing that we can do, is invest in ourselves, invest in our learning, invest in building rich, nourishing communities and relationships. A very dear friend of mine gifted me an amazing class that I'm taking right now online. And it's been life-changing for me. And it's been amazing to be able to connect with other people who are taking this course and just talk to them and interact with them. And some people are from Germany, some people are from Thailand. And I just like, wow, it's amazing. So I would say use social media to connect with people. Look for hashtags that interest you. Look at different social gathering sites like Meetup, like Facebook, like there's so many where you can meet other people who share interests. And then I would say start your own group. Start your own conversation group. Start your own social media group. Start reaching out to your friends via DM or message that you haven't spoken to in a while. Make a video where you say hey to people that you love and you send that video out. There's so much that we can do through social media, and it's just about putting yourself out there. I know it's not easy to put yourself out there, but I guarantee you, when you do, you will better connect with the world. And there's something important that you have to say that other people need to hear. Sometimes we think it's selfish to talk about ourselves or share our ideas or share our stories or, focus on ourselves. But I heard this quote once. It said, there's something so powerful that you have to offer, and by not sharing it with the world, you are being selfish, because there's somebody that's just waiting to hear your message or hear your story or use your product or was waiting for someone to come up with the idea that you created. Everything that we see around us is ideas that someone had, right? This computer, the cell phone, everything. But it's like, if we don't share with each other our feelings, our truths, our ideas, we can feel very alone. But once we open up ourselves, once we are brave enough to share and be vulnerable and be real with each other, that's when real healing happens, right? That's where community comes from. And I think community is the opposite of loneliness, right? When you find community, even if it's first with yourself, right? Through writing down and having a conversation with yourself in your journal, or through speaking it out loud and then listening back to how you're feeling and really starting to understand yourself. All of that has to do with community. All of that has to do with helping you feel less alone, because there is always a community for you. I send you so much love. I hope that there was some gems and jewels that you found in this video. I hope that there was some inspiring nuggets that you took from this video. Let me know in the comments what resonated with you most about this video. And I would love it if you shared it with others who may benefit from hearing this message. I send you so much love. There's so much more I can say on this topic. As always, if there's something you want me to talk about, let me know in the comments. I send you so much love, positive vibes, good energy. Enjoy the rest of your day. And remember, there's so much power in you sharing your story. Lots of love to you. I love you. I'm so happy that you joined me today for this talk. Bye.